You're listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. I'm Elena Paweta, Executive Communication Coach and TEDx organizer. With each episode, I'll share with you communication tips and ideas from top business leaders to help you excel in your career. Welcome to the next episode of Ideas and Leaders podcast. Today, I have a great guest, a great inspiration, Dr. Ingrid Murra. She is the 48th Latin woman to secure over 1 million venture capital funding in the history of the United States. Wow, congratulations. And we are going to speak about her startup to front and in a moment, we will cover what the startup is about, and we'll speak about her entrepreneurial journey. Hi, Ingrid. It's great to have you on Ideas and Leaders.
Hi, Elena. Thank you so much for having me. This is such a pleasure.
So can you tell us a little bit about your startup to front? Why did you decide to start it in the first place, and what it's all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we can start off with my background, which is I'm an orthodontist by trade. I graduated from my orthodontic residency back in 2018, but it was in 2015 when I started, and I saw that our industry was changing massively. I saw that orthodontics was being consumerized. People were essentially trying to do orthodontics in the mail. I saw that non-specialists were trying to do orthodontics. And I realized that we're having a very interesting supply and demand dynamic where a lot of people are wanting to straighten their teeth. But orthodontists, who are the people who have the expertise to straighten your teeth, didn't really have the tools to actually give patients what they're looking for, which is not only beautiful smiles, but a beautiful experience, a tech-enabled experience. And the reason why is that they're competing against these venture-backed companies that focused exclusively on the customer experience as opposed to giving you the orthodontist. And so I decided to merge them. So we are building a platform that empowers orthodontists to build virtual practices. And we match orthodontists with up to 20 local dental offices near them. So they go into dentists to see their patients, and through our platform, they're able to deliver that beautiful patient experience, that tech-enabled patient experience that eliminates 90% of traditional in-person visits. And so it's a product that basically serves everyone's needs. Patients can straighten their teeth, get a beautiful smile in the shortest amount of a time by seeing a specialist. Orthodontists have the ability to build a practice without taking on additional debt. And then dentists can actually treat their patients with the highest quality care without having to actually do the orthodontic work themselves.
Great. So you really saw this gap in the market, what is missing, and you started your company. I think that this is one of the keys to success, when you actually see the problem and trying to fix the problem that already exists. And looking at your entrepreneurial experience, what do you think was the most challenging for you in starting your own company?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. It's all challenging. It's, but honestly, like starting from the very beginning, realizing that there was a gap in the world with how something needs to be done that doesn't already exist yet, and not having any idea where to get started. I think that was the very, when it happened, I say I normally sleep like a bear, but when I had that moment, I didn't sleep for months because I was kind of like, whoa, this doesn't exist yet. Like, how do we do this? So started with awareness, and I really didn't know anything about starting a company. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that I tell people who ask me. Like, I didn't know, there's so much you've got to know as an entrepreneur, right? I didn't know like how to build a financial model. I didn't know how to raise money. I didn't know what a valuation was. I didn't know anything. I had just only learned orthodontics. And so I think realizing that like I could Google everything, honestly, like realizing Google is my #1 employee. That's something that someone told me a couple of years ago. And I realized it's the most true thing I've ever heard. By using Google and leveraging Google, I learned everything essentially. And I don't want to say learned everything because I still, hardly know everything, but I learned everything to get to where I am now.
Wow, this is a great mindset to start with when you don't know anything, but you know where you want to go, and step by step you're going there. And you raised over $1 million venture capital. Wow, congratulations. This is a really great result, especially knowing that only 2 to 3% of venture capital is going to female founders, which I think needs to be changed. And thank you very much for working on this and changing this. So how do you feel as first of all, as a woman in a male-dominated industry, and what do you see any challenges here?
Well, first of all, I should just clarify, we've raised 5.5 million. So yeah, we actually just finished closing a round of 3.5 million. So, which is really exciting.
Amazing.
So super proud of our team. In terms of being a woman, I don't think about it too much. It's definitely a reality. And if you look at the news, it's more of a reality. But I think when you're kind of in the bubble of building, I don't think too much about the dynamic of being a woman when it comes to, the day-to-day activities of like what you're actually doing to build a company, and the step-by-steps that you're taking, like finding your accountant, figuring out how to, create a marketing plan. I actually don't see it as, maybe it's because I am a woman, right? Like, I don't know what the difference is between being a woman and being a man, but I don't really think about it, honestly. And I think one thing that I've thought about is by not focusing on it too much, I don't see it as like a real difference. I think that there's so many opportunities I think there's a lot of incredible support groups out there, like female entrepreneurs, women in entrepreneurship. But then there's this whole other half of the world who can support you, as mentors, as advisors. And I think that by not distinguishing too much, and by really seeking support and mentorship and leadership from both sexes, it's really an advantage to just not limit yourself.
Yeah. And what about raising capital? Do you think that, did you see this difference being a woman? Did you see maybe that you were, judged differently, or did you have any challenges?
Yeah, I think it's hard because I don't really see the perspective from like a male who's actually raising. I'll tell you, fundraising, no matter what, whether you're male or female, like I've got a lot of colleagues who are male, no matter what, it's really hard. Like you're going to talk to like a lot of investors, you're going to get turned down by most of them. Like most of them are a no. And that's just something that you should internalize. Like as someone who's trying to raise money, is like, you're building something totally new. And most people aren't going to see that, but it's the ones that do see it that really succeed. Like I think the founders of Airbnb had 200 no's before they got a yes. And so I think no matter what, it's really, really hard. It's definitely a reality that only 2% of funding goes to female entrepreneurs. And so I know it's a reality, but I think when you're actually in the grind, you don't think about it too much, because I think no matter what, it's really hard. And I think both sexes face a lot of challenges, but I think if you don't focus on it too much, I think you're better off as like not thinking of it as like a cripple.
Yeah. And how do you think that having a good investor speech helped you? Because on our podcast, Ideas and Leaders, we're speaking about public speaking quite often, about communication. And would you have any tips for someone who wants to raise capital for their startup, what to speak about, what not to speak about, what investors want to hear? What do you think brought you this success?
Oh yeah, totally. So I'm definitely not the best speaker. I think I'm very aware that I speak too quickly. I say the words like, I say, I get really, really excited because I know a lot about this industry, which typically lends to like my speaking quicker. And I know it's like better practices to speak more slowly. But honestly, I really kind of just accepted and I like the way that I speak. I think in terms of like what investors want to hear in the story, there are some incredible resources out there. My top two favorite are NFX, which is a venture capital firm in San Francisco, and First Round Capital, a venture capital firm in New York. They both have these incredible blogs, essentially about like how to raise venture capital. I think between those two and this book called Venture Deals, which taught me everything I know about valuations and financing and like whether to raise on a safe note as opposed to a convertible note as opposed to a priced round. I think those are the three resources that I really learned the most and then applied it to my business and said, okay, now that I know a little bit, you know, not too much, it didn't go too deep, but now that I know like the basics of what investors want to know from these resources, and really keeping it super simple. It took me a couple months to really simplify that story and make it really digestible, and make it so that it makes sense to people who don't know orthodontics. That's really how I started. It's really just diving into like the best resources I could, applying it to my business, and then refining and practice.
Yes, yes, this is a great approach. And also, you, as an orthodontist, you are helping people to gain self-confidence. As I think that I am a communication coach, for example, and I work with public speaking and with, you know, working on investors, pitches and things like that, TED Talks. And I think that, you know, giving a beautiful smile, it also gives a great self-confidence. Do you see, when working with your clients, do you see the change in not only visual change but also in the behavior?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's why I became an orthodontist. I decided to become an orthodontist when I was 8 because I experienced that myself. You know, I was insecure. I had like very crazy teeth. And I went through orthodontics, and it's less about the physical outcome, to your point. It's more about like the internalization and the confidence that it gives you to live a better life. And I wanted to do that for everyone, you know, and so that's where this started. And I think I unfortunately don't get to practice orthodontics anymore because running the business takes up all of my time. But that's, you know, I think I say we have a dual-sided mission. One is to give the world what they're looking for in terms of having that beautiful smile. You know, I think there's cheaper options out there of like straightening your teeth in the mail. But back when I used to practice, I used to see those patients and they would come to me and they would say, I don't get it. I wore my aligners. I've been wearing them for years. My teeth aren't moving. And the reality is that no matter how long you wear these aligners, because your treatment plan wasn't designed by an orthodontist, the unfortunate truth is aligners won't work that way. And so there's a lot of miseducation in the world. And that really drove a lot of my passion, is like, you know, not only giving people confidence, but educating them on what it takes to actually straighten teeth so that they don't waste $2,000, which is still a lot of money, as opposed to an orthodontic cost. So yeah, it definitely drives me every day.
Yeah, you have an amazing mission, and I can hear that you're so mission driven that you want to support as many people as possible. This is amazing. This is amazing. So do you think that Two Front, your company, is going to make this revolution in a dental practice?
Oh yeah, if I didn't believe that, then I don't know where we would be. Yeah, the world that we imagine in the next couple of years is one where we say it's dentists and orthodontists deliver the best collaborative care together. You're delivering the most compassionate, the best care together. You know, dentists have the clinics, they have the patients, who want to straighten their teeth. What they don't have is orthodontic expertise, and they don't have this kind of system to deliver the best quality care. So the way I kind of equate it is we're creating that beautiful experience that Airbnb created for actually renting out your home, by bringing that experience to dentists to give to their patients. Very seamless booking, seamless education, seamless follow-ups, seamless payments, all with their orthodontist. And for orthodontists, what we're doing is we're saying, you know, just like pre-Shopify, you had to, you know, take out a loan, build a brick and mortar store. We are basically empowering orthodontists to build their practice without having to actually do all that, by using our free platform and matching them with dental offices so that they can actually deliver that high quality patient care, see their patients, and build their brand without having to do it the traditional way. So long-winded way of saying, yes, I fully believe that we're switching the way of doing traditional things to doing it for the better in a tech-enabled, more compassionate way.
Beautiful, beautiful. So if you were to speak with our listeners right now they have also, they have a vision, they have a dream, they want to start their dream company and they don't know where to start, what would you recommend, where to start, and what are the first steps?
Yeah, you know, I said earlier that the best resources for me to raise money were Venture Deals, their book, and then the 2 blogs by First Round Capital and NFX. But I take it a step back because that's the tactical advice. But the confidence for me, honestly, came from listening to Guy Raz's podcast, How I Built This. Back when I was an orthodontist, you know, I had all these ideas. I had no idea where to start. I thought that there was just something that I was missing. And I started listening to this podcast and I realized like everyone just started just the same way that I did, you know, not really knowing anything, knowing that there was a problem that they understood deeply. And that's what drove them. Like that mission and that perseverance is really all you need. And then you'll figure it out along the way. And so I think you start with confidence and then you go to the tactical. So I would highly recommend keep listening to podcasts just like yours.
Great. So starting with confidence, working on the confidence, and then going to the tactics. And you say that a lot of things are out there because I think that the most important problem that people face, the biggest problem, is that they don't know how to start. They don't know where to start because they don't see the full picture. And this is what is stopping them. And I think that what you're saying is just amazing. You say that, okay, just make the first step and see what will happen after that, right?
Yeah, and I'll add one more thing to that. It's confidence, and it's also knowing that you're going to fail. You know, I think by not knowing the full picture, you're just going to mess things up. You're going to spend money on the wrong things. You're going to spend too much money. You're going to work with the wrong people. You're going to mishire. You're going to misprioritize. You know, we completely changed our business plan from 2 years ago. Our very first investor was Tom Lee, the founder of One Medical. And we were going to take a very similar approach of like building these beautiful clinics across the country, empowering orthodontists to deliver this incredible tech-enabled experience. We completely pivoted. And so I think just knowing that like you're going to make mistakes and you shouldn't even consider them mistakes. They're just learnings. And I think, you know, one thing that I've learned is just like be okay with that and embrace it and be excited about it, because that learning is what's catapulting you to the next adventure and the next experiment.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much, Ingrid, for sharing your story. You are a true inspiration, and thank you for everything that you're doing. If our listeners want to contact you, to reach out, to ask additional questions, where can they find you?
Oh yeah, I'm easy. So personally, you can DM me on Instagram. It's Dr Ingrid INGRID Murra MURRA. And or you can email me, Ingrid@my2front.com.
Perfect, perfect. We'll put those links under the episode so that our listeners can immediately jump there and reach out. Thank you so much, Ingrid. It was a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you so much, Elena. This was so great. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. Did you enjoy this episode? Let me know that you listened by tagging me in your LinkedIn profile and using a hashtag Ideas and Leaders. See you in the next episode.